Hi everyone, this is Miss Serio. I'm just going to do kind of a quick breakdown of this lesson so you know what you should be doing. The first thing that you should do is this online Desmos activity if you have access to it at home. You're going to go to the student.desmos website. Don't just type in Desmos in your browser. You should type in student.desmos. You can either join with your school Google account or you can connect without signing in and just enter your full first name and last name. Make sure that you are using the correct code. So on the list below, you need to find your teacher and their class period. Once we post this and you have it on Google Classroom or you picked up the packet, the codes will be there. On step 2, there is a link, a video link, and a QR code. You can also reference those for the part that's below. So what we're going to be looking at now, we're going to be doing kind of a review. We've already taught you this, but we're going to review the material. So the key features of quadratic graphs is what we're going to be looking at. Remember, a quadratic just means that you have something that's being squared. So it means that your equation is going to have a y equals and an x squared somewhere in it. The shape that this graph makes is called a parabola. So the picture down below, the blue curve that you see, that's the parabola shape. The key features of this graph are the vertex, the focus, and the directrix. The distance between the vertex and the focus, or between the vertex and the directrix, is called P. So let's go ahead and look at this picture and label some of those things. So the purple dot that you see there, notice it's not a line, it's not touching the curve. This purple point is called the focus. The red dot that you see, this is our vertex. And then the orange line, this is called the directrix. So our special property is that the vertex and the focus and the vertex and the directrix are the same distance from one another. So you'll see that the focus and the vertex are 1, 2, 3 units away, and then the vertex and the directrix are 1, 2, 3 units away. So the value P, below it says what is the value of P. We're going to say that P is equal to 3. That's our distance between the focus and the vertex, or the distance between the vertex and the directrix. The last little piece of information that's not covered is the axis of symmetry. And the axis of symmetry is a vertical just means straight up and down, line that goes through the vertex and the focus. So that line is going to be right here. And this line is my axis of symmetry. Okay, let's take a look at our next page. All of this is in the other QR code that the other YouTube video covers, so I'm not going to go over that, but you do need to do this page. Okay, this is the page that I'm going to do with you. So the difference in these examples is that the example that you did prior, you were given the vertex and the focus. Those equations are a little bit easier to get because they kind of have a shortcut equation associated with them. Here you're given the focus and the directrix for example 2, and then for example 3 you've got the vertex and the directrix. So on example 2, I'm looking at focus and directrix. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a picture of what I know. So the directrix, that is that horizontal dotted line, and that's at y equals 4. So the directrix is always going to be a horizontal line, and that's at y equals 4. So I'm going to put D for directrix. And then our focus is at 5, 6. And I'm going to label that with F for focus. Now the tricky part of this is, where do I put the vertex? I need the vertex to write the equation. Your vertex, whenever you're given the focus and the directrix, is going to be halfway in between those. So halfway in between the directrix and the focus, since there's 2 units in between those, I'm going to go halfway, which would be 1 unit, and that's going to be my vertex. Now I'm going to label that point So that's going to be at 5, 5. And then my p-value here. So remember, p is the distance between the focus and the vertex, or the vertex and the directrix. If I go from this point to this point, it has a distance of 1. And then if I go from the vertex to the directrix, it has a distance of 1. So my p-value here is going to be 1. The equation that you're going to use, so you're going to use this from here on out for your practice assignment as well, looks like this. Y equals 1 over 4p x minus h squared plus k. And I'm just going to substitute what I know. Remember that h and k, those are going to represent your vertex. Your p-value, that's that distance that we just found. And then x and y, you want to leave those alone in your equation because you need them in order to write an equation. We don't want to replace it with numbers, or we're just going to have something that's linear. We're not going to have a quadratic equation. So let's go ahead and start plugging stuff in. So I have 4, and then I'm going to substitute p with 1. Then I've got x minus h. My h value is 5. And the 5 comes from right here. My plus k that's in the back, my k value is also 5. So this is h and this is k. So I'm going to put plus 5. When I simplify this, I forgot my squared, sorry. When I simplify this, you're going to get 1 over 4 times 1 is 4. And then I've got x minus 5 squared plus 5. And that is my equation. Now, to graph the rest of this, a rule is that to find the other points away from the vertex, you are going to go a distance of 2p from the focus, moving left and right. So in our case, 2p would be 2 times 1, p is 1, which is just 2. So that means to find my other points from the focus, I'm going to move to the left 1, 2 and put a point. And then I'm going to go to the right 1, 2 and put a point. And I'm going to connect those with my vertex. And that is what my graph looks like. Okay? Now, let's look at the next example. Now I'm given the vertex and the directrix. So my h value is -2, my k value is 1, and my directrix is at y equals 4. So let's go ahead and plot that. I'm going to label this D for directrix. My vertex is at -2, 1. So the key feature that I'm missing here is the focus. So remember that the focus has to be the same distance from the vertex that the directrix is. In the last example, I put the vertex in the middle of the focus and the directrix. That means here, the vertex should still be in the middle. So you're not going to put a point in the middle of the vertex and the directrix. Instead, if I have 1, 2, 3 units in between the vertex and the directrix, that means that my focus is going to be 3 units away from the vertex in the other direction. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So this point here, this is going to be my focus. Okay, and that is at -2, -2. Okay, so I've got my base equation. Something to note about this one. In our previous example, your parabola was opening up like a smiley face. Whenever you're opening up, that p-value needs to be positive. In this case, the focus is below the vertex, and your graph needs to open in the same direction as the focus and away from the directrix or that dotted line. So this means that when I draw my parabola, it's going to have to be facing down because it has to be opening in the direction of the focus. So that means that since your graph is facing down, P is going to be a negative number. So my P value here, my overall distance is 3, but since I'm facing down, that P value is going to be a negative 3. Okay, and my H, we said that was negative 2. I'm just pulling that from the vertex. And then my K value is 1. So I have all the pieces I need. I'm going to go ahead and plug everything into my formula here. If H is negative 2, be careful when you plug it in your equation. The equation is x minus h. Remember that x lies. So since I have a negative 2 as my h, when it goes in my equation, it's going to turn into a plus 2. And then k is going to stay the same. Okay, and then I'm just going to simplify everything. And that is my equation. To graph the rest of my graph, remember that from the focus, we are going to go 2 times p units away from it in the left into the right direction. So I'm going to do 2. My p value here is 3, negative 3. It doesn't matter if p is positive or negative, you're still going to go left and you're still going to go right. So even though this is technically a negative 6, you are really going 6 units in either direction. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is probably going to be like somewhere way out here. And then I'm going to start from the vertex and draw down. Okay, so that is your quick video tutorial over graphing with vertex, focus, and directrix.